Today's chat session involves Chapter 14, Section 1 and Chapter 14, Section 2 for our college's MGF 1107 course, Liberal Arts Math 2. Chat session topics are voting methods, flaws of voting methods, textbook sections, 14.1 and 14.2. Preference ballots are ballots in which a voter is asked to rank all the candidates in order of preference. A preference table shows how often each particular outcome occurred. Plurality method. If there are 3 or more candidates in an election, it often happens that no single candidate receives a majority of first place votes. That is, more than 50% of the votes. Using the plurality method, the candidate with the most first place votes wins. Board account method, developed by the French mathematician and naval captain Jean-Charles de Borda assigns points to each candidate based on how they are ranked by voters. Each last place vote is given 1 point. Each next to last place vote is given 2 points. Each each third to last place vote is given 3 points, and so on. The candidate with the most points wins. Plurality method with elimination method. This method is based on survival of the fittest, and many involve a series of elections. The candidate with the majority of first place votes is the winner. If no candidate receives a majority of first place votes, eliminate the candidates with the fewest first place votes. Move the candidates in each column below the eliminated candidate up 1 place. The candidate with the majority of first place votes is the winner. If no candidate receives a majority of first place votes, repeat the process. Pairwise comparison method. In an election with n candidates, the number of comparisons C that must be made is C equals n times n minus 1 over 2. Voters rank all the candidates, and the results are summarized in a preference table. The table is based The table is used to make a series of comparisons in which each candidate is compared to each of the other candidates. For each pair of candidates, X and Y, use the table to determine how many voters prefer X to Y and vice versa. If a majority prefer X to Y, then X receives 1 point. If a majority prefer Y to X, then Y receives 1 point. If the candidates tie, then each receives 1/2 point. After all comparisons have been made, the candidate with the most points is the winner. Flaws of voting methods. A method for determining election results that is democratic and always fair is a mathematical impossibility. Four criteria that mathematicians and political scientists have agreed a fair voting system should meet majority criterion. If a candidate receives a majority of first place votes in an election, then that candidate should win the election. Head to head. Criterion. If a candidate is favored when compared separately, that is head to head with every other candidate, then that candidate should win the election. Monotonicity criterion. If a candidate wins an election and in a re-election, the only changes are changes that favor the candidate, then that candidate should win the re-election. Straw vote. Preliminary election in which votes do not count, taken as a measure of voters' intentions. 4. Irrelevant alternatives criterion. If a candidate wins an election and a recount, the only changes are that one or more of the other candidates are removed from the ballot, then that candidate should still win the election. Arrow's impossibility theorem. It is mathematically impossible for any democratic voting system to satisfy each of the 4 fairness criteria. If you have any further questions concerning Chapter 14, Sections 1 and 2, please do not hesitate to contact Professor Thrall-Moeller, and she will be glad to assist you.